Well, hey, everybody. Hello, hello. We're going to get started here in just about a minute, but I wanted to let you all know that I started the recording and I'm going to share the rest of my screen here in a second. But once I change screens, I can't always see the chat. So I wanted to make sure I said hello. I wanted to make sure that y'all knew that I was here. Please, if you haven't yet, say hello. Let us know that you're here. We're going to use the chat function primarily today for any questions you might have or things that you might want to answer as we get going. Like I mentioned, today's session is recorded. So if you have to hop off or you need to go back and watch it again, it'll be up with all the rest of the on-demand webinars on that First Year Experience YouTube channel. I'll have it up here probably by tonight, if not first thing in tomorrow morning. So I want to make sure that you guys knew, just so you can kind of like sit back and listen. But the best part about these webinars when they're live is saying hello and getting to know other students that are here at SNHU that may not be in your very specific classroom, but just seeing all the different majors and all the places that you guys are from. So I'm Melanie Shop. How many of you guys have watched the webinars throughout the term? Anybody watching them maybe on demand? The pre-term was live, which is super fun. But then they're there every week for y'all. So I sure hope that you're enjoying them and finding them helpful as you navigate your classroom assignments from week to week. So just like those webinars, today's live and I'm going to record it. These webinars, they're never mandatory. They're never required, but I sure hope that they've been helping you along the way. So like I mentioned, I started the recording. I'm going to go ahead and get the presentation started because I know that y'all's time is precious. And I want to make sure that we get all your guys' questions answered. So let's get going. All right, can everybody see my screen okay? And I'll keep my video on too, unless the internet is mean to me and I have to switch something off for some reason. But today's session is going to be all about putting together that final project in week 7. So we're talking about it a whole week early, y'all. But we are going to touch real quick on the week 6 assignment too. But we're also going to center in on getting to know our amazing academic support team coaches. So first and foremost, as always, your experience here at Southern New Hampshire University is so important to us. It is our policy and practice to create an inclusive and accessible learning environment. If there are aspects of instruction or course design that present barriers to accessibility, please notify the Online Accessibility Center, the OAC, as soon as possible at 866-305-9430, or you can email them at oac@snhu.edu or visit the Online Accessibility Center website. So just a reminder, the Online Accessibility Center team, the OAC, they're here to help students just like you get content and material from the university in a way that works best for your learning style. So if you have questions about this, if you want to know more about working with the OAC, reach out to them directly. Couple webinar reminders, y'all do not need microphones or cameras. It's just me and Allison that'll have them on when it's ready and when we need to. You just need to be able to hear us. And it sounds like everybody can hear us. If for some reason you can't, check your audio settings. You might have to log out of Microsoft Teams and then log back in and enable your audio settings. That tends to be something that happens a lot with when students have audio issues. Otherwise, too, make sure that your volume is turned up on your phone or tablet or computer or however you might be watching and tuning into the webinar, okay? We are in an academic space, so always be mindful of your conduct. And just another reminder, these webinars, they're not mandatory, they're not graded, they're not required, no extra credit points, but I sure hope that you will learn things and you have been learning things and they've helped you complete your assignments from week to week and made you smile and had a little bit of fun. So I see some questions that are coming in already from the chat about your project. We're going to talk all about that and how to make sure that you're doing it the right way, because you'll notice when you do get to the final project that some of those questions that are on the final project are very similar, not necessarily exact, but very similar to what you've already been doing. So we're going to talk through that here in just a couple minutes. But I wanted to first talk about your week 6 assignment. So this week you have that journal assignment. Has anybody finished that yet? The biggest thing with the week 6 journal, like always, you open it up, there's a template, and you want to make sure that you answer those questions using complete sentences and examples, right? So your journal this week literally centers in completely on the topic of feedback. And I know when I teach SNHU 107, a lot of students are like, well, when I'm thinking about feedback examples or situations, does it have to be like from school? Does it have to be from work? It can be from school, work, personal, family, whatever you find relevant to help you answer that topic. It's all about your feelings, your experiences, and any changes that you might want to make, okay? So for week 6, you're going to answer the question about why do you think feedback from others is important? Question 2, what are your perceptions regarding receiving feedback? How does feedback make you feel? And could you improve your reaction to feedback? Some of us love feedback. We like to know how we're doing or what we could do better. Some of us don't love it. We don't like it at all. So those are just, be real, be honest, share those examples. Question 3 is any past feedback that you maybe have gotten or experienced, how you could use that to help you give and receive feedback now. What have you learned from past feedback experiences? Question 4 takes a look in at the impact of diversity awareness has on giving and receiving feedback when collaborating with others. As you know, we live in a very diverse world. And so how can understanding diversity and others really help you in being a good communicator and a good collaborator? And then question 5, what are some strategies for interacting with diverse groups of people as you give and receive feedback? Okay, any questions on week 6? As a reminder, there's a template. You open it right up, type right in it. If you want some feedback, you could always take it to the academic support written feedback team, and it's due by Sunday or earlier as convenient for your schedule. Okay. Final project. So we are talking about the final project a whole week early. Your final project is not due until the Sunday of week 7. All right. So we're talking about it early because if you notice, how many points is it worth? Pop quiz. Who's paying attention? Your project is worth a significant chunk of points for your final grade. So if there is anything that you remember from today besides that you got this and you're completely worth turning this assignment in and doing it, is you want to make sure you turn that final project, that academic success plan in. Okay. It's worth a lot of points and you've worked way too hard this term to not turn that in. All right. So this project is really about connecting the dots from everything that you have worked on week to week in your SNHU 107 class. Okay. So when you're opening up that template, again, you have a template. So you're going to open up that final project template. I'll show you where it is here in just a second. You're going to open up that template and you'll type right in again, okay? So you're going to notice that a lot of the questions are similar to questions that you have already worked with or maybe kind of answered on other assignments, whether it was in the discussion board, maybe it was a journal assignment. So what you're doing is connecting those dots. So think about what you have learned this term. So what have you learned about your schedule and how you prioritize or manage your time? What do you know and what have you learned about interruptions in your schedule and how you handle it? Remember, those are from the earlier weeks, like week 2, week 3. Week 4, you wrote an academic mission statement, right? And short-term goals. So you're going to be using those again here in this project. Question or another part 2 is that you want to make sure when you're looking at the questions that are outlined in that template, that you go back and look at previous assignments that are similar and look at the feedback that your instructor might have given you in the grade center, especially for those mission and goals in week 4. If you got 100% on your mission and your 3 short-term goals, then all you have to do is copy and paste that into your final project in that section. But if you didn't, and you have some edits to make or some details to update or some things to change, be making those changes, because I'll tell you, and I'll say this again later too, when I grade these assignments, I'm pulling up previous work and comparing my feedback to what you turn in Module 7. Okay, does that make sense? So look back at the graded feedback your instructor has left you on various assignments that have similar topics and just make sure that you're getting all the details and all the pieces and parts, okay? Trust the template. The template's there for a reason. It has all the questions outlined on it, and then you're just going to be answering those questions. And use your resources. Y'all, we have chatted so much in this term about utilizing your resources for your success. And one of those amazing resources is our academic support team here at SNHU. So I want to introduce you to our amazing special guest, Allison Johnson. Say hey. Fun fact about Allison, I love for you guys to get to know a little bit about the people that work here at SNHU too. So you can kind of put a human face to the names that you'll see when you're working with these different departments. So she is part of our SNHU Academic Support team. She used to teach high school English in a rural town that didn't even have a traffic light. And Allison and I talk about this every term. Do any of you have those small towns, or you're from those smaller towns where like the traffic light doesn't, you either don't have one or maybe it's like a blinking one? It's just all 4-way stops there. So it's really important to know that like we all come from different places, right? She's been an academic advisor for online students just like you for a long time. She loves to work with students who have been out of school for a while. Any of you been out of school for a long time and now you're back? This is one of my favorite facts though. She's a huge fan of stand-up comedy and has a collection of old comedy records. But the biggest thing I want you to remember is that she is one of the many resources that are here to help you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Allison a series of questions, and she's going to answer them, kind of like a little bit of an interview, just to help you guys make sure that you understand how to access her department and her team and why you want to utilize those resources that are here for your success. So first and foremost, Allison, how do these students access academic support and where can they find you?
Well, hello. So a picture is worth 1,000 words, and we've got the picture right here. Just above that little banner in all of your classes, you see this menu, course menu tools, my SNHU, Shapiro Library, and then to the right, academic support. So it's going to look the same in all of your classes. Just remember, we're between Shapiro Library and the help. We're right there. You click on that. That takes you to our space. There are other ways to get to us, but this is for sure the easiest way to navigate to us. And it pops out to a different window, and then you're in the academic support area.
All right, this is a popular question. So this is what pops up once they click on academic support. You're going to see their menu of services, but a lot of students wonder, like, is this only available for like new students or like specifically for SNHU 107, or like what do all these menu of services mean? It can be kind of overwhelming sometimes for students. They don't know where to start.
Yes, we are here for you for your whole entire career here at SNHU. We help undergraduates, we help people working on associate's degree, we help people on their graduate degree. As long as you're an online learner, we're here to help you. And you're working on schoolwork, because the career services team helps with other things. So we are a group of people. We have general tutors in the 24/7 drop-in tutoring. We have peer tutors who are people who are flourishing and very successful in their classes and want to give back and share their knowledge and wisdom with people. And we have academic coaches like myself who are available for more in-depth one-on-one kind of study skills help and assistance. We have workshops. We have written feedback. We have a whole team of people who do written feedback. So if you just want a second set of eyes on a draft before your instructor takes a look at it, you can submit to written feedback. It comes back within 12 hours. I always say give it a day because that way you have some time to read it and some time to revise it. The peer tutoring and academic coaching are both one-on-one type situation where you have 45 minutes to work with somebody. For peer tutoring, that's more for content questions like, I'm really confused in my psychology class. I'd love to talk to somebody about these assignments and get to know how to be successful in this particular class. Academic coaching is more, I've noticed that I keep hearing the same things from multiple instructors, or I'm feeling really out of whack in terms of how I'm managing my time or how I'm doing these assignments. My reading comprehension isn't as strong as I thought it used to be. And so then we develop a plan to kind of move you forward in your goals, a lot like a physical therapist or a trainer at a gym. And then we also have a resource center. So we have videos, we have infographics, we have all sorts of knowledge that you can access as well. So if you like this experience and this gathering with people, the workshops is also another area that you might be interested in. So I think those are all the things. The 24/7 drop-in is just that. It's a chat, sometimes a voice chat. That's great for like in the moment, I'm really stuck on this math question kind of situations that help to get you unstuck. I think I covered everything.
You did. I know there's a lot of services to cover, and I always have students that are like, how do I start? Where do I go? The biggest thing is just click around, get comfortable, explore the options that the academic support team and the other SNHU resources have, because you can just start small. You don't have to do it all. You know, if you're struggling in your classroom with like your writing mechanics, or you kind of are not very confident in your writing, the written feedback team is the very first place to start with. If you're kind of struggling with like some other subjects, or like you need a little bit more hands-on or kind of one-on-one, then you want to do with that kind of like tutoring and the coaching stuff. So just remember that like these people in these departments are here to help you be successful. So utilize them. So as we think about this final project, I know that many students get nervous when they see final project because it's worth a lot of the points on their class. For their overall grade. Is there any like common mistakes that y'all see or tips or tricks for success that you could tell the students to kind of be aware of?
For sure. So trust the template and also double check yourself, because one of the challenges with templates or kind of forms is we might skip a step and forget a section, and then you lose points on that section. So make sure every single section of it is filled out with detail, like not short answers. Your instructor is not a mind reader. Your instructor needs to know what you're thinking. And so get your thoughts down. Give a for example, give a couple of examples to really explain your point of view and why you answered the question the way you did. I think sometimes when we see forms, we kind of get into form mindset, right? Like I can answer in one sentence. Make sure that you're writing it with more detail. Double check yourself, use the spell check, read it out loud, or better yet, have somebody read it out loud back to you. Like maybe hand it to somebody in your house and say, could you read this to me? So I can hear what it sounds like when somebody else reads it. So I'm hearing it kind of for the first time, because you've been looking at this a few times. So sometimes we miss things. If you don't have somebody to read it back to you, the technology does it for you. So you can actually click on Microsoft Word and it has a dictate button where you can talk to it to get your thoughts out, and then double check. But it also has a read aloud function in the review, so you can kind of hear what it sounds like and notice if there's anything that you'd like to change. The written feedback, that's a good thing to double check. Another tip or trick for success would be go back over your feedback. It's super important. We can think, put your instructor's glasses on and think about when they are getting your final project, they have told you some things that they would like to see change, some things that they thought you did really well and would like to see in the final draft. So make sure that you're honoring that feedback that they gave you and you're giving them what they're looking for in the end result. So make sure you kind of grade yourself, go back over the feedback and make sure that you're proud of the work that you submit, and then double check that you submitted it too. Because sometimes if you go in and you look, make sure it's the right document, make sure it's the one that you wanted to send, because that can happen too sometimes.
That's great advice. The biggest thing, y'all, is you just want to make sure that you have all pieces and parts of the project template. Allison's right. I see it all the time, every term. Students just get in the habit of like answering the questions and they completely miss a section. Or the big heavy hitter is that academic mission statement and the 3 short-term goals. Especially if you didn't have any changes and you're copying and pasting, sometimes students forget to copy and paste like one of the goals over. So things like that happen. So just double check your work, give it time to look over. That's why we talk about this project a whole week early, to give you time to kind of work on it in chunks, to go back, look at it, review it. However, if you're not an early bird, and you're not a planner, but you like to do things last minute, where are my procrastinators at? Where are you? I mean, procrastination is definitely a skill set. I mean, I see some incredible work that comes from y'all sometimes at the very last minute. But if a student procrastinates and they don't have time to get it off to like the academic support written feedback team, or they're just putting it together, what are some tips or advice you can give them for success?
Procrastination happens, and sometimes it's our brains protecting ourselves. Sometimes it's just a really busy thing. And sometimes life happens. Sometimes plans don't go as you expect. And so maybe you only have 4 hours to get your assignment done. A lot of the things that we talked about, you can still do. So you can still use the read aloud feature. You can still have somebody at home or somebody read it back to you. You can still make sure spell check is turned on, or the free version of Grammarly. You can still grade yourself. So like pull up that rubric, give yourself a grade based on what your instructor has said already. That's a really great final thing to do with every single assignment you submit, is pull up in the thing that your instructor is going to use to grade you, grade yourself. That way you kind of feel like, okay, I've hit all of the marks. I have everything here and I see those things. Or have somebody in your household grade you. That could be another thing. The most important thing with procrastination is just what the sticky note says, just do it. I think sometimes the scary thing about procrastination is, oh no, it's 11:59. What if I get it turned in at 12:05? I'm going to lose 10%. Just get it turned in. Like that's the most important thing, because 10% is better than 0, right? 10% off is always better than 0, or whatever points you get is always better than 0. So just make sure you get it done and do the best you can. Take a deep breath, grade yourself, look it over before you submit it, and just say, I got it done.
Great advice. I always tell my students, I'm always like, some points are better than 0, no points. So do your best to get those assignments in. Do your best to turn in that work. Even if it comes in a little bit late, I'd rather see it so you get credit for the hard work you put in all term than to not see it and have it tank your grade. Because I will have students that have an A and they forget to submit that final project. And y'all, I'm telling you, it tanks you straight to an F. So be careful with that. Be cautious with that. That's why we talk about this early. And like I mentioned, the final project, this academic success plan, it's nothing new. You have been working with this content and these concepts all term long. It's just really bringing everything together and putting it in one place. So couple of reminders for success, and then I'm going to go through the template and show you where to find everything in your class is, like Allison mentioned a couple of times, take a moment to pull up that rubric. It's in every assignment that you have. It shows you how your instructor is going to be grading you. So look it over, know how you're going to be graded. Trust and use that academic success plan template. It's there for a reason. It has everything listed. Just double check that you answer all the questions. It's always helpful to write in complete sentences, use examples. Don't just be real quick, because sometimes you'll leave your instructor being like, what did they mean by that? Or I wish I had some more details. So do your best to give those examples. Utilize your resources. If you are stuck on the project and you're not sure how you should be answering something because maybe you struggled with the concept earlier in the term, reach out to your instructor. Don't be afraid to reach out to your faculty. We want you to be successful. So send a quick email. A lot of them will either text or even talk on the phone. Check your My Instructor announcement. They'll tell you how they communicate best, but ask those questions. I know as a faculty member, and I can speak on the majority of our SNHU faculty, if not all, we want you to reach out and ask us how to do something versus not doing that section or not turning an assignment in, because sometimes it's just a really quick thing and you're like, oh, I totally get it now. Sometimes you just have to have somebody talk you through it, and that helps. So lean into utilizing your instructors, utilize the academic support team. If you want to have your advisor check in on something, you have the learning community videos. You just have a lot of support here for you and your success. And at the end of the day, you're writing this for you. This final project kind of wraps up like how you prioritize your time, resources you can use for your success, whether it's resources here at SNHU or social supports outside the classroom. Plus, it just gives you kind of a reminder of like why you started this degree and how you're going to keep moving forward and how you're going to stay on track. I'll tell you, every year I have students who took SNHU 107 way at the beginning of their academic journey come back and be like, I kind of got in a spot, I'm here like a junior or a senior or getting ready to graduate. I got in a spot where I was like, kind of just like not doing very good. And I found my old final project from SNHU 107, and it reminded me of the resources and the things I needed to do. So like, do this for you and be yourself, because it's really a helpful document to keep you on track towards your academic goals. So what I want to do real quick is share the classroom space. So I hope you guys can all see my classroom environment here. So again, when you log into your Brightspace classroom environment for any of your classes, you have that same menu across the top, right? Here's that academic support. You click on it and it brings up the menu of services, okay? What I wanted to point out is, again, underneath learning modules, when you click on module 7, look, we're so close to the end, y'all. There's only a couple weeks left. Can you believe it? I mean, I just feel like it goes so fast. So when you click on module 7, there's a couple of things I want to point out. One, you are going to see this non-graded discussion opportunity. That's exactly what it is. It is a place and a space where if you want to ask questions that are relevant to the final project or share tips of how you have put it together, or helpful motivational strategies or time management strategies that you put into place for your success, that is a place where you can post that. It's not a place where you put any pieces or parts of your final project, and you don't have to do anything if you don't want to. It's completely not graded. It's optional, but I always like to remind students of why it is there. Your academic success plan, the template, all the guidelines and rubric, as always, click on that guidelines and rubric spot. When y'all do that, at this point, you guys know it brings up kind of the directions and the overview of the assignment. It's going to list all the questions, right? But you're going to scroll, and you're going to see underneath what to submit, you're going to see that academic success plan template. But one thing I really want to point out, because students miss it every term, is you're going to see project template. It's the same template no matter where you click it. But what's real cool is you have a document, a project example. And a lot of students miss this. This document just showcases how you put together your project, okay? So this is not something that you want to copy and paste and type verbatim, okay? You will get flagged for academic integrity issues, but what it does do is it shows you an example of what your final document should look like when you put it together. Okay, questions on that at all so far? I'm going to run through this real quick just so you can kind of get some ideas of how to do this on your own. But I wanted to just remind you there is an example. So if you get stuck and you open up that blank document and you're like, oh my gosh, remember there's an example that guides you on an idea of how to do this. Okay, so first and foremost, you open up that template and you can type right in it. So the biggest thing that you want to remember is you want to be answering those questions. And some of these questions have multiple pieces and parts, okay? I did want to show you just like a blank document. So here's that blank template without it all being filled out, right? So I want to just remind you, like, that's what it looks like. This is what it looks like when it's all filled out. There's a lot of pieces and parts for some of them, so pay attention to that. So question 1, identify a problem-solving technique or method you have used in a previous situation and explain how it helped you. How might problem-solving methods be different in diverse cultures or fields of work? And the third part of question 1, how can effective problem-solving help you in your academic journey? You'll notice that this student chose to bullet the 3 different questions they were answering and gave details and examples, okay? Question number 2, identify your learning style. Do you remember back earlier in the term when you identified your learning style or styles? A lot of you have a variety of learning styles that you use cohesively together or for different things. That's fine. Whatever it might be, if there's 1 or 2 or a combination of a few of them, you want to make sure you share that. And then you want to explain how knowing or learning about that learning style helps support your success this term. Okay, so sound good so far? You all with me? Making sense on kind of how to do this? Is this helpful? Okay, good. Question 3, identify which of the 5 successful habits of an SNHU student have been most helpful for you throughout the course. Explain how those habits have helped you. So remember, earlier in the term, we talked about the 5 successful habits of an SNHU student. So go back, look at those 5 successful habits and see which ones really worked best for you. This student, logging in early and reaching out for help, were 2 that they found helpful. One of the things I want to point out too in these questions, when it's plural, so like identify which of the 5 successful habits, you want to always make sure you have at least 2, okay? So pay attention to that because if you just listed 1, you're going to miss points, okay? Question 4, explain how you will stay on track in your courses and overcome interruptions that may impact your schedule. So this student's going to make a to-do list. They also want to work really closely with their advisor. And their biggest interruption is their little people at home, their children. So their plan is to work on assignments before they go into work or those kiddos are up for the day, right? So whatever your reality is and the things that you want to put in place, this final project academic success plan is kind of like a roadmap for your success and like a reminder, like an action step of what you're going to be doing. Question 5. This is another one. Choose 2 SNHU resources. Remember, SNHU resources are the people and departments here at SNHU. So examples like the academic support team, advisors, faculty, help desk, career center, learning community. Those are some examples right there. They're the people and departments here at SNHU. So you want to share at least 2 of them, but then you're also listing 2 social supports. Remember, social supports are people, places, and things, organizations outside of the university. So this could be loved ones, friends, family, partners, friends, different organizations you might be a part of. That is what you want to share. So you want to pick 2 for each of them. So 2 SNHU resources, 2 social supports, and then you want to explain why you picked them. Like, why are they helping you with achieving your mission and goals or even prioritizing your time? Why are they key for your success? Okay, so you'll notice the student listed their resource, instructor, and why, resource, academic support, and why, and then they listed their 2 social supports and why. Okay, question 6. Now, this is another spot where students tend to get stuck. List your personal academic mission statement is number 6, and number 7 is the 3 short-term academic goals. So back in week 4, y'all wrote that academic mission statement and 3 short-term goals, right? Like I said earlier, if you aced that assignment and you don't have any recommendations for edits or changes, very easily go back to your week 4 assignment, copy your mission statement, put it underneath number 6, and then go get your goals, put them underneath modules or question number 7, okay? If you had recommendations for additions or edits or needed more details or you were missing something, make sure that you make those changes. So this is where you go back and look at your instructor feedback, look what you wrote before in week 4, and then make those changes and make sure that they're here in your module 7 final project submission, okay? Like I said, when I'm grading these as a faculty member, I'm pulling up Allison's week 4 assignment. And if I see that she had a couple of recommendations or changes I wanted made, I'm pulling up that module 7 assignment and making sure they were made. Okay, so just know that. So just don't forget, if you're bringing over 3 goals, bring over 3 goals. Every time, every term, I have a student that is missing something. They just copy and paste too fast. Question 8, describe the importance of setting goals on your academic journey. Why do we want to set goals? How do they help us, right? Question 9, explain how you're going to stay motivated to achieve those goals and mission statement that you had above, and also based on what you've learned here in SNHU 107. So like this student realized throughout the term that they're the one that has to motivate themselves. So they have to stay motivated. They're going to do that by having a to-do list. They're going to use their resources, and they're making like a time schedule to prioritize their time. That is what works for them. That might not be what works for you. Put what works for you and why you're doing this, okay? Question 10, explain why an awareness of diversity is beneficial to giving and receiving feedback when you're collaborating with others. That looks familiar to what we're doing here in week 6, right? So make sure that you answer the question right. Go back and look at your week 6 stuff after it's been graded to help you answer those questions. Use your opinion, use examples. Question 11, why is it important to take ownership, be vulnerable, ask for help, and have an open mind to achieve your goals? Why are these things important? And you'll notice that this student explained that being vulnerable is actually a strength. They thought that being vulnerable or asking for help made people think that they were weak. But really what they realize is that they need help, like ask for help, because it helps them be successful. Having an open mind shows other people's perspectives, so just explain your thoughts, share examples, give details. And the very last question is kind of just summing up everything SNHU 107. What was your biggest takeaway from this course? Takeaway means like, what is the biggest thing that you learned? This student said like SNHU wants them to succeed on their academic journey. So there's a lot of resources that they have and they feel comfortable using them. So their biggest thing from the term is they learned about the resources. They know that the university wants them to be successful and they're going to utilize them. I've also seen students say that they realized that they had like absolutely no time management. They were just kind of winging it. And then once they started school, they realized like, oh my goodness, I have got to get organized in a way that worked for me. So them learning their learning style and knowing how to like manage their time, that is what they learned. Those are just examples. Okay, y'all, do what is do what works best for you and explain it that way. Okay, so that is the project. This project you can start working on today. You can work on it throughout the week. The biggest thing is remember for module 7, it is due that Sunday of module 7. Any questions so far? I'm going to actually shut down this part so I can see y'all's questions in the chat. The biggest thing, like we said with that project, is you want to make sure that you turn it in and you utilize giving complete sentences, give examples, go back and look at your work before to help you formulate what you're going to be putting together in that final project. Get it all submitted and then get it off to the academic written feedback team, the academic support team, have them look it over. Have them give you some feedback and then get it submitted. I tell students too, if you're able to work on this project earlier, get it off your plate. Then it opens up some time. I know, especially this time of year, like it's the holidays, it's the end of the year. There's a lot of stuff going on. So if you can get this one thing off of your plate, it can be really helpful as you head into your last couple of weeks. So y'all, that's it. Any questions? I wanted to make sure if you had any questions, and I'm going to put a survey link in the chat too, just because it helps us like let you guys know anonymously like what you guys think of the webinars, any things that we could change or add to them, because we do these webinars for y'all because we want you to be successful. For the project, it doesn't have to be in bullet point style. You can write it in paragraph style. Again, you can do it in a format that works best for you. Just make sure that you are answering the questions in detail. Make sure we're writing a complete sentences, but the layout and how it looks, that's up to you. All right, what else? Okay, yes, Allison, I love that. Let's work ahead, less stress at the end. All right, any other questions at all? Let's see. Tracy, where can I find the sample mission statement that's due on Sunday? So this week for week 6, you have a journal assignment that's all about feedback. Week 4 is where you have the mission statement and the goals, but this project we just went through, that's due next week in Module 7. So if you're not sure which assignment you might need to be working on or still get in, reach out to your instructor, because your instructor can tell you exactly what you might need and what you might have to get turned in or what they might be missing. Okay, so make sure that you guys have that. But if you're looking for the sample project, remember, I'm going to go into the classroom really quick too. You go into that on Module 7, and then underneath supporting materials, you'll see that project example. Okay, so if you're looking for like that example that I went through, that is where you found that. Okay, it is okay to use the work that you utilized previously in the term. There is such thing that's called self-plagiarism or plagiarizing. That happens. But for this project, your instructor is going to be looking for you to connect the dots. So you will be using familiar concepts and work from previous assignments, but keep in mind, it's not exactly the same question. So the only space where you'll really have kind of a copy paste situation is when you're looking back at Module 4's mission and goals. If you didn't have any changes, you can just pop them right into Module 7. But some of the other questions, they're a little bit different. So make sure when you're answering the Module 7 questions that you really take a look at what the question is asking so that you can answer it appropriately. Okay, does that make sense? The other thing we have going on, let's see if there's any other questions. Tracy, I would get with your instructor to kind of make sure that you have the questions laid out of like what you need to be doing. With your mission and goals, that was an assignment that was back in week 4. This is for SNHU 107, so I'm going to make sure you have the right class. It's okay. There's a lot of classes that are out there. If you have questions on what is due, get with your instructor directly, okay? Let's see, other stuff. With the rubric, that helps you know how things are going to be graded. It helps you look over the assignment and making sure that you answer the questions correctly. Again, y'all, for week 6, your guys' assignment is a journal assignment, and it's all about feedback. Mission and goals was way back in week 4. Module 7 does have a piece of mission and goals, but it's just the part of the project and the template. So if you're stuck, Tracy, I would definitely reach out to your instructor. That way they can see exactly what you need to get turned in and make sure that you're on the same page, because I'm not sure why they'd be talking about mission and goals now in week 6, because that was back in week 4, unless they're prepping you guys for week 7. All right, any other questions that anybody else might have? Want to make sure I got everything. Give you guys just a second. And I will get this downloaded and I'll get it up so you guys can go back and watch it as many times as you might need to watch it. Allison, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. Y'all, we're week 6. So after this week, there is only 2 weeks left of your term. How insane is that? So I hope you know that the university is just so proud of you. It's a lot to add college to a really busy, already full plate. I'm sure many of you have had to adjust schedules and get into a routine and kind of figure out what you're doing. But I sure hope that you have felt supported here along the way, that you're utilizing the resources that are here. I hope the learning community has helped you understand like what to do next and where to find things. If you get stuck, remember, reach out to those resources. If it's anything classroom related, like missing assignments, not sure about something, get with your instructor, because they can tell you exactly what you need to do and exactly where you want to be. If you're looking to kind of build that writing confidence and have somebody else look over your writing assignments, get with the academic support team, y'all. There's just so many resources to explore. If you haven't gotten an SNHU Connect yet and explored like clubs or organizations and found the SNHU 107 learning community, hop in there. It is just so awesome to make the connections, because it just helps you be an even more successful student. So thank you again for spending your lunch hour or after lunch hour with Alice and I. We so appreciate y'all. I'm going to get this downloaded. Allison, thank you again. Students, have a wonderful, wonderful remainder of your week. Have an amazing end of your term. I can't believe it's going to be here, and I hope that you have the most wonderful holiday season. Bye, everybody.